Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to wherever you are in this ever-expanding now moment. Welcome to the Blu-ray Ascension Seed Show with your host, Natalie Alea,
Hello, everybody.
myself, Bridget Rao, and today we have a special guest star, Jodi Griffin St Onge from Blue Angel Healing in Carver, Mass.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
She's going to be discussing Theta Healing, clearing limiting beliefs, how Theta Healing works on all different levels. She's also a very avid angel communicator, and she can express how to pick up on the signs that your angels are giving to you, the different vibrations that angels have. She has direct communication with them every day, all the time. So she's the perfect person to talk to when you want to hear about the angels. But Jodi, did you want to give a little brief description into what Theta Healing is and how it works?
Absolutely, Bridget. I'm happy to. So Theta Healing was brought to us by a wonderful woman named Vienna Steibel, and she is from Montana, and she has a Theta Healing Institute of Knowledge now that was created in Idaho Falls and now has been moved back to Montana. But it is a revolutionary healing technique that works with the cells of your body and the creator consciousness through the theta brainwave. I am able to make changes on the cells on your behalf through the creator of all that is. So I become the witness and the creator does the healing. And our bodies are consisted, as we know, of millions of thousands of cells working together in concert to form the material body of your beautiful self. So within our body, we contain belief levels within ourselves. So we have a core belief, which is everything that you have learned from birth until now. We also have what we call genetic beliefs, which are downloaded or essentially passed on through the cells at birth and as we're created in the womb from our parents, from our mom and dad, but also from our grandparents and our great-grandparents, going back to 7 generations of beliefs, as well as carrying history-level beliefs, which could be anything from a past life or an ancestor. So if there was a traumatic event that occurred within your ancestry, then your cells would remember that. Therefore, you would have triggers or limiting beliefs surrounding those particular topics of interest or specific situations. And then we carry things on a soul level, which are very deep ingrained beliefs, and those are the soul of who you are. So when we carry a belief that is on the soul level, it's a big belief, and those ones tend to be a little bit more difficult to clear because you've had them for a lot longer, especially if they're coming on the history level and or genetic level. So the Theta Healing, so as a practitioner, those that come to receive Theta Healing would sit across from me. We may hold hands or not. It's completely up to the person and where I'm located in the U.S. I can offer Theta Healing on phone sessions because it can be done long distance. I don't need to have you present. All I need is for you to agree to the changes. I use a process of Theta Healing where I reach the theta brainwave and I'm able to access through the creator. I can scan your body, ask creator to show me what beliefs you're carrying, and it could be a belief that I don't like snow, and we could work on why you don't like snow. And there could be a fear of snow, and perhaps on your history level there was an ancestor who passed away during a snowstorm, a blizzard, or avalanche. And there you work with creator to conduct a soul retrieval. We would bring back the soul parts that were lost, clear away the trauma, and then download creator's teaching and definition of what it feels like to live without carrying that. And therefore, after that healing, we always call that a miracle healing. of any sort. Whenever we make a change in the body, it is always a miracle, because these are deep ingrained beliefs that we have had that would not change otherwise without connecting to the Creator on the seventh plane. We could go through hundreds of years of cognitive therapy, including Reiki, to clear limiting beliefs, let's say anxieties and fears and triggers, and with one session of Theta, these beliefs can be cleared. I don't make assumptions saying that someone is going to have a total miraculous healing, but I have seen miracles occur with individuals where they have carried beliefs towards having relations with other people who are unable to even communicate with another person, who all of a sudden has the ability to do so. And this has happened through a number of sessions. We work on similar issues, releasing fears, and as we clear them, people become more confident, more in line with their divine purpose, and they feel more alive inside and more grounded into Mother Earth, and it is no longer do they carry those triggers. So each person is different. Every healing is unique, as we all carry different belief systems in our body that react differently to those situations.
I really like how you can use Theta to help manifest abundance. Like I've noticed it works so much quicker when we do that.
Yes.
And that's like, can you tell people like what some of their limiting beliefs would be surrounding getting abundance?
Well, believe it or not, there are lots of blockages within abundance. It could be, money is the root of all evil. That's a belief that many of us carry. Also, worthiness beliefs, where I am not worthy to receive, that could be created through just coming into this world, and maybe you live in poverty, you grew up in poverty, and it's difficult to come out of that. You might carry a vow of poverty. So some people, especially if someone has a loved one that, let's say, was a priest or a nun, or if they have had past life regression and they have had an experience where in a lifetime they were a nun, they may carry that vow of poverty, and by having that, they are unable to carry and hold on to money.
Right. It's really cool. And I was kind of like about it when, I didn't expect it to be so powerful, but like we did the manifesting abundance class, and within like 2 days, stuff that I was asking for was showing up. Jamie brought home a brand new vacuum, and one of the things I had asked for was new appliances. So it was so cool to see it manifest so fast, and I was asking for simple things. I wasn't asking for like, the moon and the stars, but for it to happen quickly, it was really cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing how fast things can start coming in when you're in alignment to receive. Also, other beliefs preventing one from receiving abundance would be beliefs surrounding resentments, anger, holding grudges onto other people, situations, jobs from the past. That is also a block to receiving abundance and financial stability.
I like that it also works. I was talking to someone last night who's done Theta with you, and the weight loss. They were able to go from being in a position where they were unable to do a healthy diet or to change, and now they've dropped like 45 pounds in a short amount of time. And it's just, those are the types of things that people like. It doesn't seem like it could happen, but I know firsthand because I'm seeing these people transform.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I know who you're talking about there. And how amazing was it that it was almost immediate after her session that person was able to really shift and start being more in alignment to what was good for her. And like I said, everybody has different beliefs, so it just so happened that we had set our intention ahead of time, and she did as well, and I do believe that has a lot to do with it, is that her mindset was ready to make these changes, because I've had some individuals that come in and they want to do work on weight loss or abundance or love, okay, like bringing in their soulmate, okay, their most compatible soulmate. And if they are not willing to do the work and make the changes, then they're not able to actually bring in that high vibration to come in for that change to happen.
Well, that's what happened with me that night about paying past bills and debt. I was like, no.
Right. We had to stop. But she was like, okay, I don't want that. And I'm like, okay. So, I have to go around that. And I'm hoping eventually she'll be ready to clear that, And I always tell people, if they instantly say, oh, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. And I look at them and I say, that's a limiting belief. Would you like to clear that? Because it can be changed. And anything can be changed in our mind, anything at all. And I've had amazing experiences with the Theta. It blows my mind every time. I even had a woman that came in for a session, and she has asthma or asthma-related symptoms. And even though she goes to the doctors and they've gone through all of their testing and she has all these inhalers, it never changes, and she really does, it comes up inconclusive that she has asthma. So we went through a healing package where this woman came in to see me weekly or bi-weekly, and we're working, and as I'm going up to Creator, all of a sudden I was seeing her past life and how she had passed, and at the age, now this is the thing that was so amazing to me, the age that she had passed in that previous life was the age that she in this life started picking up those symptoms.
Wow.
Really? Right. And when we cleared that, her asthma disappeared.
How did she pass?
It was a traumatic ending. She was crushed.
Okay, so she couldn't breathe.
And it was like a board. I was having visions, and I asked Creator to show her and show me, and I kept on seeing a board with boulders being pressed on her and crushed. And so she was crushed to death.
Yeah, because in asthma. Yeah, that's and I totally believe that because I've seen it, time and time again. People, I think John Doonan had said something to me about my the sciatic pain that I had, that it was caused from past life, and the age that it started showing up here was the age it was when I had whatever killed me in that life come.
Exactly.
It sounds really shamanic to me. That it's kind of like a shamanic type of, because you're going into, almost sounds like the Akashic records.
Yes, exactly. We're going into the Akashic records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on different levels, it sounds like, when you were talking about the soul, the history. That's really interesting. So you're going on different levels of the Akashic records. And you said something about the miracle healing. The Buddhists say that anytime we heal something, we could have had thousands of lifetimes with that unhealed. So it is a miracle when we heal it.
As simple as it is, it's a slight change, and people don't realize it. It's such a simple shift within the cells that it's profound. Just like with the woman that had come in for weight loss, and we had done one session. That was a miracle healing. I've had a young girl come in with eating issues, and then all of a sudden things disappear. I've had so many things come in, and I'm completely humbled at the power of Creator and at the power of Theta Healing. I've been a healer for many years, and I've been facilitating hands-on since I was 4 years old and facilitating Reiki since 1996, and I've never stopped hands-on. So for me to be able to make these type of changes for the clients that are coming in, and it's not me, and I have to constantly correct myself because I want to make sure that people understand that I am the witness and the vessel. Creator shows me where it is, then I, on their behalf, tell Creator to change this for them. It comes in so powerful and unique. So what one person might be experiencing for one particular healing, or miracle healing as we call it, another person with the same belief system is going to experience something completely different.
Yeah. The witness thing too, see, like you said, Creator comes in and shows you. When I go on a shamanic journey, the power animal shows me. But it's the same thing, just like a different. It's almost like a fractal level.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And I'm able to, through that theta brainwave, I'm able to communicate with spirits as well, our loved ones that have crossed over, our own ancestors, the animals that come through. I've had totems come through. It's just all in that encompassing seventh plane.
Explain the theta waves. Is this like the alpha, beta, theta? I think the theta waves are the shamanic. Maybe it's not the meditative brainwaves, isn't it?
Yeah, like when we're alpha, we're awake. You know, and you go into beta, and we are in that half point. You know, when a lot of healers are able to reach a beta state, that's meditation, that's daydreaming. When you're hitting theta brainwave, where it's deep in our subconscious mind, and as you know, being a shamanic healer, you're able to, what they call theta healing is, we're not listening to sounds though to bring this theta healing, where
you're not listening to the drum or the rattle. Right.
This is just able to go up into that theta brainwave to reach that state of consciousness, still being aware and present, and then having to make that change. So we go through, like I almost do my own, I do a little guided journey with my client whenever I begin this process, and I think it allows me to prepare as well, really letting go and meditating and just allowing myself to be centered in the heart of Mother Earth, pulling in that energy, and we always ground to the heart of Mother Earth, and then we ask to be guided, you know, past the white lights, the dark lights, the white lights. We go through the many levels of consciousness.
Of the veils or whatever they call them, Yeah,
we call it 7. We call them levels of consciousness. So you can have, you know, level 1 of consciousness or planes of existence. So like the first plane would be everything would be rocks and the earth.
The crystal consciousness, I call it.
Exactly. Then the second plane is plants and animals. Third plane is where we are right now. Fourth plane is our ancestors, our loved ones. Fifth plane is all of our gods and goddesses, the ascended masters, the angels. Believe it or not, our gods, like our Hindu gods, are on fifth plane. Sixth plane is all of the laws, like all of everything that has to do with just gravity, you know,
the universal energies, quantum.
Exactly. And seventh plane is where the creator of all that is, and that's essentially where we go to make these changes, and we don't even consciously know that. And they say that that is where Master Jesus was able to connect to the seventh plane of the creator consciousness, to make those changes for total miraculous healing on all of these people, which is pretty cool. And
he always said or claimed, at least when I was going to church and stuff, that Jesus said that, you know, others would do this and more. What he was doing. So yeah, I've always, you know, he never said it's only me who can do this.
I know.
You know?
Oh, I know, but like, you know, we have, you know, and I'm not downplaying anything, you know, like they have their beliefs, and some people, you know, that they would say that I would be blasphemous for saying that.
Yeah, and I don't get that. He wished humanity to have these healing abilities, I think.
I agree, and he himself said, you know, the kingdom of God is inside you, and it's all around you. It's not built of mansions of wood and stone. They're here. It is here within us. You lift a piece of wood, you pick up a rock, and you're going to find Creator. You split a piece of wood, and I am there.
That's beautiful.
It's in every living, breathing, and non-living thing. And he was able. I mean, he did his teachings on top of a mound, you know, under a tree. And there at that time there was no churches and things like that, so there is a lot of controversy. But I tell people I pray directly to Jesus. Like when I'm beginning, I go right up to Creator. I ask to be a vessel, and I ask that any angels or spirit guides who would like to work with me to do so. And I work with Native American spirit guides, and I've had different Hindu gods come in for specific healing, because that's what the person needed, and it wasn't about my ego. It's just about being that vessel of light. And I think that's why I love Theta, because again, it's not about religion. It's not about views. It's just about connecting and making that conscious connection to the creator of all that is and saying, okay, creator, we need this done for this person right now. And miracles happen. And if it's in their divine purpose to not receive that healing because they're not open to it, then it still has to be okay, because that's their journey on this world and their earth plane. Like, that's their spirit journey here. So every day I'm just blown away and amazed at Theta.
When did you start doing Theta Healing, Jodi?
I want to say it was 2012, 2013, about that time.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard about Theta many years ago, and even one of my mentors kind of was like, oh yeah, it's just like Reiki. And so I felt that it was a little bit, people didn't really think of it in the same terms that I'm thinking of it right now. So it was almost poo-pooed to me. And so when I was searching for more and searching for more and searching for more, I kept on being drawn back to Theta. And I would ignore that feeling, hello, I should have listened earlier. And so, because Vienna was actively doing this in 1995. So, I mean, it was out there in the beginning of my career. And then it came to my knowledge it was probably about 2008, 2009. I had a friend of mine. His name is Jim Wazalewski, and he's an advanced Theta healer and a health coach of mine. And we were working together doing Reiki. He's a Reiki practitioner, and he kept on hearing from the creator that he needed to work with me, and he kept on saying it, Jodi, I don't know how we're going to do this, and I know that we'll barter if we have to. And I was like, okay. So we bartered for sessions, and he practiced Theta Healing on me, and I couldn't believe how it made me feel. Releasing resentments that I didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
Fears. I mean, I was afraid of dogs. I couldn't even be near a dog. Now I can be near a dog. And I can walk down a path and not have a panic attack with the dog coming near me. If there's a dog, even on a leash, I would go, oh my gosh, and I would be afraid of getting bit by a dog because I had a belief that I would get bit by dogs. And that was a limiting belief, and that was a phobia. And Theta Healing healed that for me, and I couldn't believe that. So he connected to me with my teacher, Pamela, who's from Massachusetts, but now is in St. Petersburg, Florida, and Pamela Lord, and she's fantastic, and she's good friends with Vienna, and I feel very much so that, like, I was gifted her, like, to be connected to her. The creator wanted me to learn, and I haven't stopped since.
That's great.
Completely integrated into my healing programs now, so my clients who come to see me for Reiki also have an opportunity to experience Theta, and every single one of them get hooked on Theta. Because it's just like, can we just do Theta today? You don't want to get on the table? No, we'll just do Theta. That's okay, because they're feeling the difference. And Reiki is wonderful, and I always infuse Reiki at the end of my sessions, because it just is it makes you feel so warm and cozy, and it makes you, allows you to
so gentle. It's just, Reiki is like this, like, gentle hug and kiss or something,
And so, I do my hands-on with them at the end of our session. So we'll do an hour of Theta Healing. We'll take a 5-minute break and then come over to the table, and then they'll get some hands-on, and it just, they say they leave like butter.
It is cool, and I like the muscle testing, because it's like it shows you how to like, even how to do things in regular life. Like, I do that as a way to figure out if something's the best for me. Like, if I'm stuck between two decisions, like I did it with the blankets I was buying the other day. I'm like, which one do I want more? So, like, in the middle of the store, muscle testing.
How do you do the muscle? Do you do with the fingers, with the muscle testing? Just pull your fingers?
Yeah, I don't do it with the fingers. I actually use the body as a pendulum. So I will have The people that come to see me, the participants or the clients rather, would stand facing north. I have them close their eyes so that they're connecting to their subconscious, and I say their energy, and I'll tell them to say, their legs are about, hip width apart, soften the knees. We'll say yes, the body should full forward, and then no, the body will kind of pull back. And I always tell them, if you need to step forward or back, please do so, don't fall, because I wonder sometimes, like, no, you want to make sure you can step, don't fall down. So that's how I muscle test. Unless somebody cannot stand, that is the only time I use the hands, because I still feel that sometimes, maybe even with the hands, that they might be able to manipulate that a little bit with intention. When they're closing their eyes and they're zipping up, the wow factor is what gets me every time, because they'll say, I don't carry that belief. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll check on that. And I'll have them check a belief, like, it could be any belief at all, like love is, yes. And if they say, and they would like, oh yeah, I carry that belief, and go, love is yes on all levels, and they'll go no. And they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Shock.
Or even just them moving forward. It's always it's such a hoop. They're like, oh, I won't move. Oh, okay. And I have them drink plenty of water, because it's important that they're well hydrated. If you're dehydrated, your body is not going to muscle test appropriately. So
I didn't know that.
If you're dehydrated,
sometimes people go opposite too. They need to be rebalanced, right?
yeah, they have their their like polarities off. So if I would say, if I muscle test and I said say yes and they went back, then their polarity is off. So I would ask, if do I have your permission to change your polarity? And I go up, I access the the theta brainwave, go up to the 7th plane, say creator, change this, and I'll put my hand on their head and I do this thing and I flip it and it flips every time. And they all go, wow. Like, if I have a group and I'm doing a demonstration about what is theta healing, I always say, do I have a Vanna White here? Do we have a Vanna? And when I bring somebody up, and I like to choose somebody who's never had theta before, because those are the ones, because that the rest of the group knows. I've never seen them in our groups before, so she has no idea what muscle testing is. I usually ask, have you ever had muscle testing? Oh, no. Okay, perfect. And they're like, perfect. And even when I'm muscle testing, if something's yes or no, I always say perfect, because it's exactly what we need to see. And it always blows my mind, because the belief is always there, no matter what. Even creator downloads it, it just gets in my head and shows me where the belief is. And I say, okay, and we muscle test. And even if they say yes on, I'm afraid of dogs, and they say no, I go, let's check on all levels. And there might be one belief level that carries the yes.
Yeah, and you just want to clear it out on all levels, because I guess they can ripple. Do they, like, let's say, how does that work? If it's on one level, does it ripple down into, the level that they're on, their physical reality? It must.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely does. Anything that is a limiting belief, if you are carrying that even on one level, even if you muscle test and you are muscle testing that you don't carry that belief, unless you check all of your levels, you're not going to get an accurate reading.
That's really interesting, because I do a lot of muscle, like I do a thing, we call it kinesiology over here in Ireland, the muscle testing. And you can do it like with your thumb and forefinger, and you kind of hook them together, like, hook around, and then just ask a question, and whether you can pull your fingers apart or hold it.
Right.
And so that I do that. Like I bought my car that way. Is this car good for me? Yes. Yeah, I'll take it.
And that's something that I want to actually, Natalie, learn how to do more, because I have about 1 or 2 clients that are not that steady on their feet. So I will have them do that muscle testing, but I'm not familiar with that muscle testing. So sometimes I feel insecure, which is a limiting belief. And I work on myself. Well, let me clear that belief before we work on that. I have done that where I will literally go, oh, I hope I don't carry that belief. And sometimes I check myself if I carry a belief. And I'll go, hold on one second. And I just check, especially if it's with a friend. Or I'll just check for myself later. And I muscle test myself constantly for limiting beliefs. Do I carry this? Do I carry that? And I just, oh, I do? Oh, well, I don't want to carry that. So I go right up. I imagine sitting right in front of myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to self-heal because that's how also we can teach, like, besides our lives getting better, we become better, whatever, better able to help others then.
Yes.
As we clear them. And what limiting belief do you think blocks people the most?
Right? Worthiness. That's a huge.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Fear of. There's actually, believe it or not, a lot of people carry resentments and grudges, and the worthiness piece, like they're not worthy to receive God's love. Believe it or not, those are the beliefs I work on first. I am able to receive healing from the Creator on the seventh plane. If you don't carry that, you're not open to receiving it. So I could do all this work for no reason, and it wouldn't be for no reason, but we wouldn't be getting anywhere unless they carried those beliefs that they were open to receiving. But worthiness is a huge factor. Also, open to receive love is another one that's huge. And that can be for abundance, that can be for love, that can be, your new job. If you're not open to receiving love, I mean, because love comes from a job. So, and then you end up feeling joyful and happy. So everybody is different, but in my experience so far, I would say the worthiness piece is huge. But the beliefs are everywhere, and I just laugh at how many people still carry them. I go to a place in around the corner from us. It's a 55+ community. I love doing theater on the little old ladies there, and they're so wonderful. And they come in and they're so open, and we'll work on communication. Now you'd think at 75 years old they'd learn how to communicate. No. No, yeah, we'll work on communication. Now thinking this is easy, and then we work on it, and then they're all needing to have private sessions. I'm like, well, we could clear. Let me just clear this. No, come over here, and I'll check on what level, and then I'll clear that for them. And because my Theta Healing demonstrations, I generally do downloads. I don't make too many changes. Like I'll change for the group, but from yes to no, like a belief. Like when it rains, it's cold. That could be a limiting belief. Not that I would change that, because sometimes it is cold when it rains. But, you would change that for the whole entire group. And sometimes it won't stick. So one person might stand out, and that didn't change. So I have to then muscle test, is it safe for that to change? And sometimes people don't. It's not safe to. And then you have to go in and you have to do a technique like called digging. That's what we call digging. And those are fun sessions. So where I have to sit there and okay, well, if you had that belief, what would the worst thing be if you had that? What would the worst thing be if you had $1 million? Sometimes people carry illnesses or having their limiting beliefs, which protect them, and their illness actually protects them, and there's a purpose. So you have to really dig to get down to the core belief level. And without doing that, we can make all of these changes surrounding this core belief level, but that core belief is going to still hook, line, and sinker all of these.
I find that a lot with a lot of things, with the hooks.
Yes.
Energetically, that and as you do more of this work, you start to see the hooks when they're coming at you. No, go away.
Yes.
I've noticed that a lot of times it can just be in the wording, how it's worded to someone. Like there'll be like a little loophole, and they're like, you know what I mean? Like there's just like a little loophole in the way that it's worded to them, so they may go forward or they may go backwards depending on that little. It's almost like being a lawyer. You have to like word it just so to get to their belief.
Mm.
Yes.
But I find that I do tarot reading, and you probably, I don't know if you guys do the same, but
Mhm.
I will ask a question 3 or 4 different ways just to make sure to see
Yeah.
it, because like with the wording, it's like, am I getting the wording right? Like, what do I really mean?
Yes,
What-
yes, and that happens too with Theta. If I receive
mm,
a belief, maybe I only hear half of it. Like I did a belief on a woman today, or I hate saying woman or man. I'm just going to call them all women, even though I do work on some men. But like, so I did a belief work today, and about divine guidance, and there was a belief, she might have carried. I am open to divine guidance, yes. But then if you said, I am open to my divine guidance, it would be no. Just adding,
Ooh,
yeah. So
sneaky one.
and that's like another hook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's true too, though, because even in readings, like, I pull out cards for a woman the other day, and like I laid them all out in front of her, and I give her this reading, and she wasn't really like resonating. So then I had to go deeper, and I'm like, okay, so by the end of it, it was like exactly what the cards had said, but I needed to like dig down into her brain for her. Like, I think one of them was like, there's no limits, like you can do anything you want to do. And then the next one was like, are you going back and forth on an idea right now, like, are you trying to make a decision? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, are you a nurse? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, have you ever, like, are you good in your career? Have you thought about going anywhere? She's like, well, I've thought about going back to school, but it's not possible. And I'm like, yes, it is. Like,
She didn't even think of it as something going back and forth. She didn't even see it as like a decision.
but
She
once
thought,
I had said that to her, she was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, it was on, and it was what I had been telling her from the beginning, but she didn't see it
Mhm.
that, so I actually, like, made it, like, into the fine details of her life.
Right.
yeah, sometimes people don't see the structure of their own, again, like with the blind spot.
That,
Yeah.
and that's limiting belief, that blind spot that she has. No, I can't. It's not possible. And and Bridget, you know me, I would turn around and go, well, would you like to change that belief?
Right.
Anything is possible, but some people are so wrapped up in their limiting belief that it prevents them from receiving everything that they need to. The change that they want. They're screaming to the universe, angels, help me, creator, help me, I need this, I need this, I need that. And then there's an opportunity, and they go, oh, well, I can't do that. Well, why?
I know, it's
And
crazy.
there's no reason. There's no
Uh-uh.
reason. I was like, so why can't you? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, what? I'm like, well, they're telling you can and to go forward, and I'm like, ultimately it's your decision, but they're giving you that push. They're telling you to make a decision whether or not you want to go forward and go back to school, or whether or not you want to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. They're telling you to make up your mind and do it with all your heart, because you can do whatever you want. And she was like, oh, okay. And like, I think it helped her to realize, like, there's nothing there holding you back. And like, if you want to go back to school and then later on in life have kids, you can do that too. You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
Mm.
I think we need outside forces sometimes to assist us in acknowledging that, like, we're not stuck in this, like what are you going to do? Stay in this one position forever and never go back to school and never have kids because you can't make up your mind between what one's the best one? And like, eventually you're going to have to choose.
Right. See, here's the thing, Bridget, even with those individuals that are coming in for readings, that are seeking for guidance, that are so deep ingrained in their stuff, right, that they're not able to see, they're exactly where they need to be.
Right.
And they're coming to us for guidance, but it's all limiting beliefs. Everything that prevents a person from stepping out into their own, okay, and being their assertive, confident self, is all limiting beliefs. And then sometimes you don't know, by having a conversation with a person coming in for a reading, that, well, maybe their husband at home, and they say, oh, well, my husband controls me, or I can't do this because of X, Y, and Z, and I'm not allowed to spend money. Well, essentially, they could be so much really, and they could really be enjoying their life, that even though they hate it, they're receiving everything that they need to, including additional attention like if they have an illness, that they don't ever get better, and maybe the illness is always being shown as not really being there. I've treated clients that they go for all of these testings and they have all these aches and they're on all this medication, and then they get mad at the doctors, and it's this constant whirlwind. But at the same time, they're receiving Social Security, they have Mass Health, they have all these things. Now, if they healed their body, they're not going to get Social Security. They're going to have to get a job. They're not going to be able to get all of these things. And so that's where you have to kind of take a step back, and that's where Theta comes in, and I can see, Creator will show me that
Right.
they're not able to make those changes. And so I have to deliver that, when I'm working with them, saying, well, when you're ready to make those changes, that'll come in.
Yeah. I've noticed with myself lately, I've had a pattern throughout my life, and I'm starting to see my patterns more now, and accepting them and working with them, because I do tend to do that thing with oh, Jamie this, oh, Jamie that, like my fiance, I place a lot of blame onto him as to why I'm not going to be able to do something or why I shouldn't do something, but it may not even be him. It may be my own guilt. He doesn't even have to say anything, and I'm thinking that sometimes he doesn't even give a shit, and I'm thinking he's going to be mad. Like Saturday night, I was like, I want to go out to eat, but I didn't think that he would be okay with that. So I called him, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And when I came home, he was laying in bed like, how was it? Did you make money? And I was expecting him to be upset, in a bad mood. But he has also shifted too since I've been doing more stuff. He's gotten more used to it.
That's cool.
That happens. That's actually more common than you realize. I tell a lot of my clients that too when they're coming in and we're working on beliefs surrounding relationships and love. And when we begin to change ourselves and realign with our divine purpose, the people that we're in begin to change because we want to attract in a different vibration.
Right.
And you can't, if you change, the other person interacting with you can't help but change.
That's right. And if they choose not to change, that's okay too. And that's where you have a lot of, people that are in relationships where one has to, the relationships end. And it's not that the other person's necessarily a bad person. It's just that they've evolved and the other person hasn't. So they don't carry the same beliefs anymore. And they really don't want to live that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's bad or indifferent. It just doesn't resonate any further.
It makes it a lot easier for you, looking at things from this perspective has helped me a lot too, to look at things from that point of view as to there's not so much of a blame game in life anymore for me. It's like everybody has their shit and everybody's doing something because of something else, and we take things so personally all the time, and there's just no reason to.
Absolutely. I just something sparked for me there, but I don't know if I can gather my thoughts to get to say it correctly. But the limiting beliefs, like the fear of the future, I see with some clients, I see this stuff where they have to understand how something is going to come about.
Yes.
And I don't understand that, but it's like, why don't you, just set the intention, and the energy or the cards are saying, yeah, it'll happen. Don't worry how it does, because sometimes when they know how it comes about, they'll self-sabotage anyway.
That's right. And that's another limiting
belief. It's like fear of the future or something. Yeah. And I don't get why people have to understand the whole process.
Right. Well, yeah, if they're an Aquarian like me, they want to know everything.
I want to know every detail.
I want to know everything. I need to analyze it in my brain until I get it, and so I understand it. And some people are on what they want, but why?
Yeah.
But why?
Though there is such the energies today and yesterday, my gosh, so many downloads coming in. I don't know if you guys felt that, but me and Bridget were talking earlier about it. It was like our brains were like, blah, 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 just going really fast. Lots of information coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a lot of animals today, a lot of animal messages coming in.
Did you want to share? I think it's kind of nice,
Oh,
some of the animals. The turtle, I love the turtle. And then you got the turtle clan card.
yeah. Well, it was cool. The turtle thing made sense because, I've been so busy, and it's all about, like, kind of slowing down and grounding. And, the turtle carries the weight of the world on its back. And in different cultures, they would say that, he's holding, the earth on his back. And I can see how that's relating because I haven't been giving myself a lot of off time. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, oh, I have this day off and I have that, but I'm not even really taking those days off. I'm taking those days off from being out of the house. I'm still working from within. And I need a day to just sit around and do absolutely nothing.
Be a dog with your dogs.
Right.
Bridget. I'm so mad too. Oh, that's so funny. I had, talking about animals, I had Hawk come to me yesterday. Well, not yesterday, and I was walking, in my yard, and I'm always looking. I always find feathers everywhere, which is, like, great. And I'm like, oh, and we're having all these downloads, and, it was a full moon, and all of a sudden I look, and I find, and I'm like, what is that? And it was a handful. A cluster, like, of downy feathers from a hawk.
Oh, precious.
And so I picked them up, and they're all together, and it literally fits in the palm of my hand, this huge cluster of feathers. And so we had a drum circle the other day, and, when I was telling the group, like, when I find down feathers, to me, Spirit is telling me a need to protect the self. And where I saw it was like a whole chunk, I received that I'm, like, little bits of myself have been being pecked away at by what's going on in my personal life, like little things that's like peck, peeling, and I'm shedding and molting. And I felt, so I'm molting, which talks about my transformation, like the phoenix even rising up out of the ashes. So I looked at that as that I need to protect myself more and surround myself more by loved ones, but also to give myself that opportunity to heal, because I've been going, we had a death in the family, and we had a lot of shift over the last few weeks.
Yeah, you did.
Up to the eclipse and the full moon. So, and the energy of the eclipse and the full moon, to me, with the blood moon, was all about transformation, because it's the moon, and everybody, there's so much suspicion around the blood moon, but yet it's a very powerful moon. And
I did the astrology, and I think we talked about this last week, and I got the message that the Akashic records were really opening up during the blood moon, and that we were doing a whole bunch of clearing soul contracts, which is like limiting beliefs in a way, totally related. That's the message I got, that we were clearing up, able to read our Akashic records that have been hidden. Now, that from maybe not even hidden, but maybe not accessible.
Right.
And they're accessible now.
Yeah, oh no, they definitely are. And that's a lot of these people are talking about, I thought we were supposed to ascend. We're ascending. And
isn't your life magical? Because mine is.
Mine is magical. But I think that some of it is that people, like, are so eager to get off this planet and be out of the, but yet we need to be, a mentor of mine said online, and I know Bridget saw this post, be now. Be okay with being right now and loving that and being in that vibration of love, and not so much that why are we not ascending. Maybe the ascension is that we're activating, we're becoming more conscious and being able to have access now to the Akashic records, having to communicate more with our loved ones on the other side, with being open to receiving more divine healing from the universe and the creator of all that is. Isn't that ascension?
I think it is. Yeah.
So everyone's thinking that we're going to have this big mass, vaporization, and we're all going to ascend at once. And I'm thinking, and I'm looking at them going, no, it's not that. It's going to be, it's subtle, it's gentle. We're ascending. So I mean, we used to be able to communicate telepathically with every creature on the planet and with Creator and our ancestors. So I think this is part of the awakening that's coming, is that we're awakening to it again.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, there could be physical changes, but physical is always going to be slower.
Yes.
But you know, the unseen changes, those are happening at light speed now, you know, in the other dimensions, or whatever you want to call it, higher dimensions.
Yes.
Information, that's all happening really, really quick. But the things are happening quicker on the physical, but it's still way, way slower.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to take a long time.
Yeah. And what it is, people, like we have talked about this on a few shows. People want to vaporize, or they want to, like, you know, leave this place. I used to feel that way too, and I think a lot of starseeds do. But in the last few years, I'm like, no, I'm here. This is my home now. I know I came from other places, but this is my home, and I'm going to make it, you know, the best home ever.
That's right. And that's what we're supposed to be learning here, is about learning to be in that vibration of love, learning to love our life.
Yeah, whatever it is right now.
Right now, and that's where we need to be. So many are focusing on the future. You know, what if this, what if that, or they're stuck in the past and they're unable to be now. Be now is where it needs to be, right, B?
Right. It's funny because it's like I've said this to a few people, like, recently too, because I used to feel the same way. Like, I didn't want to be here. I just wanted to go home, and I stayed all the time. And actually, a year ago to today, you know how Facebook tells you your memories. I had posted, like, I just want to go home, and people were like, what do you, like, my sister thought, like, it meant, like, I wanted to go back to my mother's house, but it was, you know, I didn't want to be here. But they're just going to make you come back.
I saw a meme, reincarnating, I'll be right back, and don't touch my stuff.
But I'm good now. I'm at a much better place now in my, you know, in my head, and through doing different work and through meeting other, you know, a big part of it was meeting other people who felt the same way made me feel better, because I didn't feel so alienated and alone on the planet anymore. Like, I've got starseeds coming out of the freaking woodwork trying to talk to me, and I'm like, oh my God, where did you come from? Like, all day Sunday, you know, I was walking through the tables. Jodi was at one, and KJ's at one, and they're both, like, stopping me. They're like, I gotta talk to you. This girl needs to talk to you. And, like, girls were coming in that had seen post, or someone had told them that they had to have a healing with me. But almost every single one had, you know, like, star being energies. It's just like, it was, like, amplified up. But even, you know, the groups is where it had started for me on Facebook, because I didn't know any, like, Karen was one of the first people that I met that was openly like, oh yeah, I'm like, you know, I knew was a starseed and was able to connect with. But now it's like almost every other person I meet is like that, or can relate to that in some way. You don't have to be a starseed to feel that way, but.
And did you feel there was strong, because when I looked at the astrology, now this is from Ireland, because I did like an astrology map of the planets from, well, I guess you could say the northern hemisphere, and Polaris, Pleiades, and Orion were all constellations in the sky, that there were no planets in that section of the sky. So I figured Orion, Pleiades, and Polaris energy was coming in really strong over the weekend.
You know what's funny? The person that was working at the table next to me was like, I'm from Orion, and like that energy was like insane all day long, and it was very, very, very intense, and almost every girl that I talked to had like a Pleiadian message or something to it, and Pleiadians have been talking to me.
I'm a Pleiadian. Yeah. I was right.
I'm fascinated by Polaris recently, because, you know, our North Star does change over, like, well, it takes like 250,000 years or whatever. But right now it's Polaris, but I don't hear much about it, but I connect a lot with Polaris for some reason, energetically. I just fascinated by it.
That's one of the first ones I usually see. I see Polaris. I always see Orion's belt.
Me too.
And later on in the night now, I see, like, I'll go out at 3 o'clock in the morning and the Pleiades is right above my head.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they call you out there. And I also have the ships that come.
Yeah.
Your little light buddies.
Yeah, I've always been connected to the Pleiades, so as long as I could remember, I would stand outside and Orion's belt. Like I never was taught what was Orion's belt or all of these certain constellations and these stars, and I would say, "Oh, you see that right there? That's the Pleiades," and they would go, "What?" I'm like, "Right there. You see that?" It's like 7 stars, I think. I'm like, I don't know. You can kind of see it. You can count them all. They're all like right there. And they're like looking at me like, how do you even know this? Did you take astronomy? I'm like, no, I just know that that's where that is, and that's why I know that I'm from there. So.
And that's what I've told people too, because I know what the Pleiades are, and I can find them, and I can actually see more than 7 stars. And some people can't even see the full 7, but I used to wonder why I looked at Orion all the time. I'm like, why do I always look at Orion? And then it hit me one day, well, if I was located in the Eye of Taurus, I would have been looking at Orion in all those lives. So yeah. I think that's why we connect to Orion so much, too, because, you know, he's right there trying to shoot us.
Oh. It's so funny. And the guy that was with next to you during the fair, it was definitely from Orion. He's so a starseed. It's just too funny. I even felt like even that Leslie has starseed in her. You know, I know that we didn't get a chance to dabble with that with Leslie, but she definitely is. I felt like we were all like in like that one corner.
Yeah. And you know, it was funny because I had gone to get a little break, and he came out with me, and so we're sitting there, and I'm like, so where are you originally from? And he's like, Orion. And I just love that he knew what I was asking, not being like, oh, I'm from like Fall River.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was, you know what I mean? Like, for you to sit down with someone and say, where are you originally from, and they give you a star, you're with the right people.
Right.
Definitely. And you know, I just wanted to ask you too, could we talk about some angel stuff too?
Sure, I would love to talk about the angels.
Yeah, so tell us your story about your work with the angels, or anything that, you know, something with your work with the angels, your connection with them.
Oh, I have been working with angels my entire life. My first memories of the angels was when I was 4.
Wow.
And, we lived at, believe it or not, 44 McCusker Drive, and we were in Braintree. And isn't that funny? I was at 44, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I was on the top bunk, and I remember vividly having an experience where all of a sudden I felt the bed move, like somebody stepping on the bed. And I turned around and I opened my eyes, and above me, hovering, was this magnificent being of light with ribbons of light that would stream down, and she would and I knew it was feminine, and she would gently touch my face, and she was so bright. She was brighter than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw an angel too, and it was the same. The light off them, I could almost not even keep my eyes open. It was so bright.
Right, and she touched me on my third eye, and she placed a symbol or something in my third eye, and
wow.
Closing my eyes. And at 4, I even knew, you know, I would pray to the Blessed Mother. So closed my eyes at 4 years old, and I started doing Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you, blessed are thou among women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, now at the hour of my death, amen. And I'd open my eyes and I'd go, Hail Mary, full of grace, and I'd close my eyes again, and I would say it again and again and again and again and again, and she never left. And so shortly after that experience, I started astral traveling, and I was being brought up and I was way up, and I could see my whole complex, and that was my building, and I was shown like the silver cord, and that I was traveling with them, and that I had a purpose. And they showed me so many things through the Creator's eyes, and I can't even describe to you everything, because it was so vast and profound. And then after that, I was probably 5 to 6, and I was still having visions of the angels coming to me. And I remember we had this big, huge hill, and we had big wheels, and we would play tag and everything, and the kids would get a boo-boo, and I would go running over, and I would be facilitating hands-on healing, and they would say to me, "Oh, look at the little girl. Oh, do you want to be a doctor?" And I would say, and "Oh, do you want to be a nurse?" And I'd say, "No, I just want to do this." And the angels always had me doing hands-on, and I never knew what that was. And so fast forward now many years. Okay, so I'm in my early 20s now, and I had had so many experiences that, just going here, talking to them. I would talk to Metatron constantly.
I love Metatron. I actually think he's my favorite angel.
He's the highest order of all angels, who stands next to the throne of God, and he's actually the only angel within the heavenly hierarchy who is allowed to sit next to Creator.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now, I've always had a strong connection. Yeah.
He sits because he's the scribe.
Okay, yes.
Scribes down all of the Word of God, and that's why he carries the Book of God, like the Book of Life. And he, within it has all mysteries. And if you read the Keys of Enoch, which is one of the books that I have,
do you have the Keys of Enoch?
I do. I have the.
I need to get a copy of that book, by the way. So maybe I'll exchange information. I know you can order it from.
Ordered it online. It was like $70.
Yeah, it's expensive. Did you just order it online? Did you just order it from Amazon or from there's like a Keys of Enoch site, isn't there?
Cheaper on Amazon, because if somebody's selling their old copy.
Okay.
And I actually got it from the main website, but it needs to be a white book, and it has the flames, and it shows the pyramid at the top, and the symbol.
Because I find I'm fascinated with that book. But go on, we'll talk. We'll have to talk more about this later, Jodi. The Keys of Enoch.
For that, but
yeah.
They're trying to come to me, and then I remember we were living in Carver, and which is near my studio, and I was up late one night, and I had been doing some healing work, and I was journaling in my book, and all of a sudden I started squeezing the book, my journal, and I started writing, and I was writing faster and faster and faster, and I just started writing about my experience, like, oh my God, somebody's here, I can feel something, and I started changing letters from E's to A's, from I's to O's to U's, and things like that, and so everything was shifting, and so finally I just took a minute to ground center into Mother Earth, asked Creator for help, called on Archangel Michael, and I said, who am I communicating with here? And I wrote Harold, and so I thought, Harold, is this my friend Harry? Because my friend Harry had passed over when he was 22 years previous. And I heard no, and all of a sudden I could hear the song Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And I started to cry and sob, because I knew at that moment I'm communicating with angels. And
wow.
Yeah, and they've really come in. Actually, tonight I have my Communicating with Angels certificate class, where I do a communication course where I teach to communicate with the angels. It was completely created by the angels, and they get downloads from the angels to awaken their psychic senses so that they're more connected to them, to receive their divine guidance and their healing, and the messages to be delivered to the world, because it's really important with all of us raising our vibration with this ascension that is happening. From 3D up into 4 and then 5, which I do believe we're almost in 4D, but even though we're still very physical, and I believe we'll still be very physical for a long, long, long time, like we were saying earlier today.
Yeah.
angels really need to communicate with us, and people need to hear messages from the angels. And I deliver what I call a soul reading, and I know that it's because it's the angels are coming in, and I'm like, this is what's going on with you. Creator wants to make this change. The angels are here. They're sharing this. So they've been coming through for a long time, and I do spirit drawings of the angels as well. And I finally realized after many years of, and I've read tarot, and my aunt is an astrologer, National Astrology Association of America. My family is from England and Ireland. Myself, like, we're from over there. And so
Druids, too. You'd be very much in tune with the Druid.
Which is all about the stars, and it's amazing. And they just continue to communicate. But the angels, they are so here. Every one of us has a guardian angel. It's whether or not we choose to connect with them that allows them to really be present and to help us. And they're not going to make changes for us without our permission, because we have free will. And a lot of people don't realize that, and they say, well, why is my angel not talking to me? Well, maybe you're blocking it, or maybe you're just blocking yourself from receiving what you need to. And sometimes we don't always like what we have to hear,
That's the truth.
That's our own ego. When we learn to put ego aside and to step into the place of unconditional love, non-judgment, the angels come in. And I've had experiences I remember one experience, this will blow your mind. And so I was sitting, and we were in Carver at the time, and I was communicating with a girl online, and all of a sudden I started channeling. And my hands start to type really, really fast, and it was going faster and faster and faster and faster. And, I felt like I was typing like 150 words a minute. And I closed my eyes because it was such a high vibration. And I felt like I could hear him corporally. Like, he was so powerful, and I felt like I was in a pool of water. When you're yelling underwater and you're like, hey, and it's like, hey. So and this energy comes in, and I was like, I command you in the name of the creator of all that is. I commanded it to tell me who you are, because at first he was like, it does not matter who I am. It matters. The message is what matters. And I was like, absolutely not. You're not stepping into my physical body without permission. I'm not allowing that. So you need to tell me who you are first. And all of a sudden, and I thought I was going to like lose myself. Like I cried after, but I am of the air and of the earth. I am of the water which quenches your thirst. I am of the fire. I am Nathaniel. So powerful, so strong. I was like, oh my God, okay. And then I had a bookcase behind me, and flying out of my bookcase was Angels A to Z, and it was down. And I picked up the book, and I flipped it over, and it was on Nathaniel, Angel of Fire, who is a seraphim, and that's why he's a fire. The seraphim angels are on the top of the angelic hierarchy. They're of pure blue, pure flame. Metatron is a seraphim. Sandalphon is a seraphim. Michael is also seraphim. Uriel is seraphim. There's a lot of angels that we communicate who are archangels that are also seraphim. So generally, we don't communicate with seraphim angels because we would die upon fright if we would actually connect with them in their...
Okay, I have a question for you. So I had a visit. One of the triggers to my awakening was I saw an angel. Mm-hmm. I was asleep, and I woke up. Full moon. We didn't have curtains in the house. We just moved into the house, so it wasn't like, finished. Mm-hmm. And I saw light sparkles. It almost looked like something like Star Trek, when they move in the thing. I just saw like lights flicking like in a circle. Yes. And then it popped up, and it was so bright, and it was like a blonde little baby. It's what it looked like, but I knew it was an angel. I just saw like a face and a gown. Even the gown glowed.
Yes.
And I wondered if it was like a cherub. You know how they have the cherubims that look like the little blonde babies that you see like in frescoes?
Cherubim or cherubim angels are not little babies. They are cherubim angels are in the, I want to say they're in the first sphere Okay, so they are cosmic angels. You know the Sphinx in Egypt?
Mm-hmm.
Half man, half lion. That's a cherubim. Cherubim angels are very animal-like. They can have lion heads and human bodies. I really, in my research, have connected with them, and they do have more of that energy. Another cherubim angel that we're very familiar with, Ariel, is cherubim, and she comes through. Now, she also is an angel of love. She's an angel of nature.
Yeah, this angel was like really, I didn't get the animal, but it does make sense.
Well, and it might be that the angel was really just appearing to you in a form,
yeah,
you that you wouldn't feel fearful of, because they're not here to scare us. So to appear is in like part animal, part human form. I mean, some of it, I feel that the angels are really just electric. They're collective energetic energy of vibration, so they can. Sometimes when I have visions of angels, I just see the energy of the angel all dancing around them, like the tiny molecules all together, working together in concert, and they're all dancing around, forming this form of the angelic presence with the wings and the halo and the head and the gut. And sometimes I've seen them come to me as looking very human.
This one looked like human. I didn't see wings, but its skin glowed, its hair glowed, it was light coming out of it. You know, but I didn't see wings, and it was just for a few seconds. And the next day, I was living in Ireland. I'd lived here about 4 years, I think, and I saw, let's say, a sheet on a storefront saying "Connect with your guardian angel," and that's how I took that class, and that's how I started.
Oh,
I was like, I saw an angel. I'm already connected, but I'll learn, you know. Because I was so fascinated, because I was like, at the time, I woke up my ex, and I was like, oh my God. And he's like, oh, you were dreaming, but I was sitting up in bed.
Right.
Eyes wide open.
Yeah, that's not a dream. Just kidding. Yeah, that's definitely an angel. I would say
and you
so.
Said cherubim or cherubim? Cherubim?
Cherubim. I wouldn't say that it was a cherubim unless it was like you got a name I could tell you.
Yeah, I didn't. I just saw it, and I just felt pure love from this being.
I'm feeling really strongly that was your guardian angel.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The guardian angels are the closest to humans. They are the ones that are making themselves known. They are always seen in apparition. They're the ones that we get pictures of. But, you know, so and they're lower in the angelic hierarchy. When we talk about the 9 choirs of angels, at the top you have the principalities, you have the seraphim, okay, and then, you know, and you have the cherubim, the thrones, the virtues. So you're moving all the way down the ladder, and then at the bottom, okay, on the very bottom is angels. Above them are the archangels. The archangels are the leaders, so that's why they appear to us, like Archangel Michael. He is but he is also angel. So he has the ability to kind of like a human-like form. Our angels our guardian angels that are like watching over us, and everybody has one. Those ones look a lot like human. I think that Creator formed them to be that way. They're the heavenly messengers that we really communicate with, because that's where they are. Because if you're talking to them on a regular basis, you know, they're working on the cosmos. They're galactic.
Yeah.
So they don't have time, and I'm not saying this like...
I totally agree with you. They don't have time. They're working on cosmic level.
Working with the Arcturians. They're working on the galaxy. And that's why I think the Egyptians, like when people are reading, like when you're learning about angels, I mean, think about it. Like Isis had wings. Hello? They were communicating with angels and also with our galactic brothers and sisters who helped to create us. I mean, we have this consciousness. I mean, come on, we didn't just go from like Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon to Homo erectus in just one day, but yeah, it kind of appeared that way, didn't it? And yet it was still Cro-Magnon, there was still Neanderthal, and yet all of a sudden we are like these very conscious beings that come to this planet, and the angels are here as our guides. So, sorry to add in that galactic piece there. I really believe that a lot of the energies within those were like, you know, part of the angels that we communicate with are like are written about in all forms of culture. They're written about in the Egyptian times. It goes back all the way to the time of Babylonian, you know, and
Yeah.
sometimes they come in with wings and sometimes they don't. But the common
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure what I saw. Well, and then I saw the angel thing, but like I was like, I thought angels were supposed to have wings, but this definitely didn't have wings. But it was a light being.
yeah, they're light being, and they don't always have to appear to have wings, even though I have seen angels with and without wings.
Okay.
So, yeah, because Archangel Michael has come to me in his pure and he's the only angel that showed me himself in his pure self, or almost as, and he was a blue flame. He was electric blue.
Oh,
It was like
beautiful.
and his face formed, and I'll never forget it. I was very aware, and I could see him with my eyes closed and my eyes open. He was hovering over my body in my bed, and we lived in Carver at the time. And I'll never forget that and how he appeared. I wasn't afraid, but the first time I saw him in black jeans and a white T-shirt and a black leather jacket and black boots and dark hair, but his eyes still spoke to me, and it was like he just talked to me through his eyes, which are of crystal electric blue eyes. So when he came to me as this being of blue flame, all I remember was his eyes, and then he panned out and showed me himself. I wasn't afraid. I was familiar with him at that point. So he's shown me two different versions of him. I have a painting that I did of him. And he's all blue, and he's got like whitish hair. Some people say he looks like he's Pleiadian. Maybe.
It sounds Pleiadian. I've seen blue beings before in dreams that were protecting me and stuff like that. So, and I still don't, I can't decide if they're Andromedan or Pleiadian, where they came from, but they're definitely star beings.
Yeah, and like when I astral traveled, like I found out that I was blue, and that's like kind of like the pun with Blue Angel Healing.
Ah.
I know. So I mean, I work with the Blue Angels, and the Blue Rays, but I had astral traveled one night, and we had this fireplace with this huge old-fashioned mirror, and I remember specifically, and I flew in front of my mirror, and I was like, oh, wee, and I'm flying in my house, and I'm getting I'm going, I'm leaving the planet, I'm going to another part of the planet, because I do that at night. I astral travel to the opposite side of the world. I usually will go over to you guys, not necessarily, over an island, but I usually go over to, like Iran or Afghanistan or something like that. I have a lot of visions of being over there, and that's another talk for another day. But yeah, I flew in front of this mirror and I saw myself. I was blue. I was blue, electric
That's
blue.
so cool. Yeah. I always think my oversoul or whatever is blue. I think so too. I think I've seen myself as a blue being.
Yeah, and I looked at my hands, and my hands were electric blue, and I went, I'm blue, and I my body, because it freaked me out. Like I was like, oh my god, I'm blue, I'm blue, I'm blue. Like, I really was blue.
So, guys, I think are we going to wrap this up soon, Bridget?
Yeah, you have to get going too, because I have
Yeah.
to get.
Yeah, I think we should, plan to continue and maybe just have a angel talk the next time.
Yeah, because I think we should have another one where it's just angels, actually.
Yeah, because
There's so much information there and so much more,
Yeah, they're really, and I love sharing about the angels. So.
obviously. It's Blue Angel here on the line. So, Jodi, do you want to let everybody know where people can find you, like you're on Facebook and where you're located and some of your...
You can find me on Facebook. My business name is Jodi Griffin St Onge. Griffin's actually my maiden name. My name is, but I do have that up there for people that know Griffin. And but I'm Jodi Griffin St Onge. But you can also find me on Blue Angel Healing at facebook.com. You can also go to www. Help me, Bridget. Blue Angel
Healing/blue. It's under Wix. It's blueangelhealing.wix.com/blue.
We'll put a link up.
We're gonna link it so you don't have to, like, people will.
And I'm so grateful for Bridget because she really helps you.
Oh yeah, Bridget's a star. Definitely a star.
Natalie, you want to let people know where to find you?
Yep, you can find me at aleahealingservices.com and Starseed Shaman on Facebook and Google+, Alea Healing on Twitter, and we have the Blue Ray Ascension Seeds show page on Facebook and Google+, and YouTube channel with Bridget.
Right. And you can find me on my personal page, Bridget Rao. I have my own page, Divine Essentials New Paradigm Healing, and I am also located in Carver. I am Jodi's assistant, and if you need to get in touch with her and you can't, you can ask me, and I'm usually able to do that for her. She has a lot of awesome classes coming up. She has some mediumship things going on, and I know we're going to be talking to her again in the future, but as these events get closer, like the Harvest Moon Fair and things like that, we'll be discussing what's going on and all the new fun stuff that's coming up. But I just want to thank Jodi for taking the time to talk to us today, and I hope that we can do this again in the future.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Thank you so much, Natalie. It was so wonderful, Natalie, getting a chance to talk to you in person, well, via phone.
Yeah. No, fabulous. Thank you for coming on. So much information there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies, have a wonderful evening and shine on.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jodi. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye.